so people will keep joining बाद में.
ठीक है, ठीक है.
ठीक है. The screen is visible, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. चलो, then I think Samay will start.
Yeah. So am I audible to everyone?
Yes,
Yes.
you are.
Yeah, okay. So I'll start. Yeah, so hell. Yeah, so are you recording, Gopalji, the call?
I hope I am, Samay. I'm still trying to figure this out. I was able to successfully do it last time, so hopefully this time also it'll work.
Yeah,
I've
right, right.
started recording a few minutes back.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, so I'll start now. Yeah, so hello everyone, welcome to this call. So today Dhruva and I are going to talk about our recent birding expedition to Eaglenest Wildlife Sanctuary. I hope you are all are excited. So if you are wondering what is Eagle Nest, Eagle Nest is a forest in West Kameng district in Arunachal Pradesh. It's in the extreme western side of Arunachal Pradesh near the Bhutan border, and it's in northeast India. And the forest is very dense with evergreen forest with thick vegetation, and it's home to some of India's most unique and rare birds, including the elusive Bugun Leo chichla, Blythe's tragopan, Temix tragopan, Ward Strogon, and many other northeastern endemic species. So we went on this tour with a expedition team called Wildegram, and our tour leader was Adil Ali. Our total team was made of 6 people. We were Dhruva, I, my father, our guide Adil. Then there was Dr. Sahib, I forgot his name. Dr. Ravi,
Dr.
yeah,
Ravindra Kapu from
yeah, Dr.
Andhra
Ravi,
Pradesh.
and Bhaskar ji from Uttarakhand. Yeah. Yeah, so it all started when Dhruva told us about this expedition when he was planning to go in January. So then we also joined him. And then after that, on 29th April, we left for Pune airport from where we took our flight to Guwahati. Next,
Next slide.
Dhruva. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have divided this presentation into two parts from Pune to Bompu Camp, which I'm going to speak. Bompu Camp is in Eagle Nest, and the rest of it, the rest of the journey, Dhruva will speak. Yeah, so next. Yeah, so we started at Pune airport. Our flight timings were quite terrible. It was at, I think, 3 a.m. our flight was there. So then it wasn't so comfortable though, but then we made it to Guwahati and be sleeping somehow and stuff. And then we arrived at Guwahati at 6 a.m. where we met the next member of our team, Bhaskar ji, who arrived around an hour or hour and a half ahead of us. Then after that, we went outside where the cars were waiting. Here, Adil and Dr. Ravindra Kapu were also there. So then we met them, and then Adil said our next stop would be the Guwahati garbage dump. Now, if you are wondering why we are going to a garbage dump, because it may sound crazy. Yeah, next slide. Because the garbage dump is one of the biggest birding hotspots around Guwahati. It is home to the endangered greater adjutant and lesser adjutant, both of which are commonly found there. I also got myself my first lifer here, which was the striated grass bird. And it was astonishing to see such birds in such a kind of habitat. All the birds are on the garbage and stuff. We also saw another interesting bird here, which you can see in the bottom pic, and that is the rosy pipit. Next. Yeah, so from there we headed to Eagle Nest, and on the way we stopped at the Arunachal checkpost because you need a permit to enter into Arunachal Pradesh. And then after we got the permit, we continued ahead, and the overall journey was around 8 9 hours. We also, yes, Gopalji,
Sorry, Samay, are you going to take questions in between or you want to wait till the end?
we are taking questions at the end. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So where was I? Yeah. So then on the way into to Eagle Nest, we birded on the in the Arunachal habitat. The habitat was very different here from what we usually get in the other Himalayan ranges. It's very thick and dense forest. So then here I saw scarlet minuet and bronze drongo, and Dhruva also spotted a long-tailed broadbill, which was a lifer for me and him as well. So then after that we took a tea break at Sessa, which is the last one of the last towns before Eagle Nest, because Eagle Nest you have no communication of any way. Yeah, and while taking this tea break, we saw a verditor flycatcher and a large hawk cuckoo. Large hawk cuckoo is another unique species of Northeast India. Yeah. And then from there we headed to Tenga village, which is the last village before Eagle Nest. Here we picked up our guide Prem. And also on the way it was quite foggy, and then Adil told us that our last guide had died because his car had fallen off the cliff and then he had gone into a coma for 2 days. That's why we had another guide. So it was disturbing that we were going on the same road in the fog. Yeah, so anyways, we picked up our guide Prem, who was a local and young, as old, same age as Dhruva. So then after that we headed to Eagle Nest. We got our permit and stuff to enter into the sanctuary. And then here we did a night session looking for birds like the mountain scaup owl and Hodson's frogmouth. But unfortunately we didn't find anything except for a grey nightjar. So then after that we headed to our llama camp, the first camp in Eagle Nest. So Eagle Nest has two main camps, which are llama camp and Bompu camp. There's another camp called Cessni, I think. Yeah, and that is located south of Bompu. So we didn't stay at Cessni, we stayed at this Lama and Bompu only, and another place which is outside of Eagle Nest. Yeah, so anyways, we arrived at Lama camp, and Lama camp is called Lama camp because when first Dalai Lama came from Tibet, he stayed here. So then they named it after him. And Lama camp is home to the critically endangered Bugunlio chichila. I'll talk more on that later. Yeah, so we reached Lama camp and here we had rooms for ourselves. So then we went to our rooms and then just slept because the next day was very intense to search for the Bugun. So the next day we woke up at 4:30 a.m. and there were a lot of birds outside our room. Dhruva and Adil also heard mountain scop owl, and there was also a large-billed leaf wobbler which we get in Pune also sometimes, and it was right outside. And then some dark-sided flycatcher as well, and lot of birds were calling. So the thing about the northeastern habitat is that most of the birds you just hear calling and you never see them. So you have to always have Merlin on to capture the birds, and also they won't come out unless you use playback. So all the guides do that. They have a speaker with them. So we also saw this interesting animal called the mithun. You can see it here, the image of a cow-like thing. Yeah, so the mithun is a hybrid of a cow and yak, and it has a quite interesting story. The villagers feed it salt when it is small, and then it's semi-wild kind of. So it goes into the wild and just eats and stuff, and then it comes back to the village every year to get the salt. And then after some years, they kill it and eat it. Yeah, and then we had a very funny experience here personally that I saw a bird which was ahead of a mithun. So the mithun is really scared of humans. So then I just ran towards it to photograph the bird, and the mithun thought I was going to charge at it, so it got scared and just ran away. And it was a little funny. Then after that, we headed downwards to the Bugun Community Reserve, which is a reserve for the Bugun Leo Chichla. So here we were looking for some mid-elevation birds. There were also many people here who were already waiting for the Bugun since early morning. And because it's a very elusive word, I'll speak about it in a bit. Yeah. So then one lady there had already got a picture and it was looking very nice. So about the Bugun, I guess some of you must have heard of it before. So the Bugun Leo Chichla is a critically endangered species of Leo Chichla, and it's kind of like a laughing thrush because but it is in its own family. Yeah, so then the Bougainvillea chinchilla was originally discovered in 2006, and there are only 14 known individuals of it, and 250 individuals left in the world. And there's only one place on Earth that you can see it, and that is Eagle Nest. And there's no other place you can see it except for Eagle Nest. And the main place in Eagle Nest is, of course, Lama Camp. So then, while we were here, we saw quite an amazing bird, and that was the scarlet finch. In the second image, you can see us looking at the scarlet finch. So the scarlet finch is a type of finch, and it is brilliantly red. You can see it in the first image here on top. So then we spent some time photographing it, and then we went into the community reserve to search for the bugun. So while we were looking, we found another bird called the beautiful sebia. So when we first saw it, everyone got crazy and then they just went mad photographing it. But then after some time, we realized Bugun, the beautiful Siba, is the kabutar of Eagle Nest. It's so common there that it's just everywhere. So then after the fourth or fifth time we saw it, we just stopped photographing it and stopped looking at it also. So then we were just scanning the area, and then after that, after some time of looking around, we our guide had gone quite ahead, and I also saw a white-browed scimitar babbler here, which is difficult to see. So we were just looking at that and other birds and stuff. And then suddenly our guide, local guide Prem, he called Adil via the walkie-talkie and just said that he had found the Bugun. So then we all rushed towards the spot where he was, and we could hear it calling clearly, but we could not see it. And then through a gap in the trees, I saw it, and I somehow managed to click it. There were like 10, 11 layers of trees, so I was just rolling the focus ring here and there, and then I somehow managed to get a record shot. Dhruva, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so the bottom image is mine and the top one is Dhruva. So then after some time, Dhruva also got a great shot, but somehow no one else got it. And before that, Adil had already been to Eagle Nest some 6 or 7 times, and then he said he had never been able to click a Bugun. So then even I thought it was very difficult to click, but I was very grateful to the bird that we were finally able to click it and see it in the first session itself. Next. Yeah, so then after that, we were very happy, and then we were just roaming around, and we saw some other interesting birds that are common in Eagle Nest, that including the green-tailed sunbird on the top, and a Yuhina, then rufous-bellied woodpecker, verditer flycatcher. Yeah, then after that, we went a little up the road outside the Bugun Reserve to see the another bird, which is called the lesser shortwing, and that is also quite difficult to see. And while everyone was photographing it, some of us saw some bulbuls in flight, and then we got distracted. And at that moment, the shortwing took off, so we could not click it, unfortunately. Yeah, then we went more up the road, and we saw some birds called the shrike babblers, black-headed shrike babbler, white-browed shrike babbler, and all. They were in a mixed flock on a tree. Then we continued up to our camp and ahead to search for another elusive bird called the pygmy cupwing, which is like a wren babbler but quite small. It's like this tiny. But we didn't find it, unfortunately. We just saw it briefly for a second. Then it started raining again, so then we got drenched, so we went back to the camp and were waiting, had lunch and stuff. Then in the evening, we set out for another session. Next. Dhruva, next. Huh.
Huh.
Yeah, so then for in this session, we started by looking for another elusive bird of the northeast, which is the rufous-throated wren babbler in the top image. So the rufous-throated wren babbler is very elusive and it stays in the bushes and stuff. So we were playing callback and it was calling back and stuff. Then after that, I saw it again through the trees. This was in 3 4 layers, I think, in the bushes, and I got this record photo of it. Yeah, and then it was quite nice to see it. And wren babblers are like iconic birds of the northeast. They're only found there. This was my first species of wren babbler ever. And we also saw white-browed shrike babbler again, and some other species like sapphire flycatcher, etc. Then we went down again to the Bugun Reserve. This time we saw another two people were there, and there was a man who had the huge 600 f4 lens, and he was just waiting there for the Bugun. So we also joined them, and then another Bugun individual came. This was our third individual, and I forgot to tell that the Buguns we saw were tagged individuals. So then we saw another tagged one, a Bugun, and then unfortunately, I didn't get any pics. Dhruva got a blurred record shot, and that person with the big lens, he got such a clear pic that I was quite impressed. And then in the right side image, you can see me looking for sapphire flycatcher and all. Yeah. Next. Yeah. So then after that, we went for another night session, and this time also we saw a gray nightjar, but no owls and stuff. Eaglenest is home to quite a few species of owls, but I was surprised that I couldn't see any. Yeah, so the next morning we woke up at 3:30 a.m., which was quite early because we had slept also at 11:30 or something. And then we went to Eagle Nest Pass. Now we had left Lama Camp, we were heading to Bompu Camp. So Eagle Nest Pass is the highest point in the Eagle Nest Wildlife Sanctuary, and it is at 9,186 feet. Yeah, and then we went there, and then as soon as we were going, we heard the calls of a blithe tragopan. Yeah, so tragopan is a really bright orange color bird, and it's like a pheasant, and it's really interesting to see. So here we looked for the higher elevation birds. So as we got out, there was a lot of fog, and then the first species we saw was the chestnut-headed tisia. That also was a lifer. Yeah. So then after that, we went ahead to, and our guide Prem said that we were going to look for a elusive bird called the Temix tragopan. So but the Temix tragopan is very rare and it doesn't come up to the road. So we had to go down into the forest to get it. And then as soon as we got into the forest, we heard the tragopan call, and then our guy Prem said that everyone should sit down. So everyone sat down, but unfortunately, Dr. Ravi couldn't get a space to sit down, so he went a bit ahead, and that's when the tragopan flushed the female, and then just flew past. We so then it had gone. So then we were waiting for the mail. So Dr. Ravi also came back. And after that, we waited for around 2 hours. And in the middle, I almost fell asleep because I couldn't sleep. But then suddenly I woke up because I felt like I was having hypothermia, because suddenly I felt a shock of cold. And then when I looked around, I saw everyone was shivering. And that's when I realized that it was super cold in the forest because of the trees and the moisture that had attracted the trees, and no one had told us it would be so cold, so we hadn't carried so many layers. I was just in 2 or 3 layers. And then after that, the male tragopan also came, but no one could click it because their hands were shivering so much. And then it was a nasty experience. As we I don't know exactly what was the temperature, I didn't check, but I guess it was around 5 degrees or lower. Yeah, so then we saw the mail, but no one could click it. And we spent around 2 hours in that forest, and it was quite a nasty experience. So then after that, we came back up, and then I was feeling like I was going to faint. So then I went in the car and just sat with the heater on. But then everyone went to look for another dream target of mine, which was bar-winged wren babbler. So then all the fainting and stuff went away, and then I also ran behind them to look for it. But unfortunately, we didn't find it. So then after that, we had breakfast there, and here is where we found our first leech. So then Eagle Nest is known for leeches and stuff because of the moist forest. So then we were told from before to get anti-leech repellent and carry thick socks. So then Dhruva and I, we had decided that we would click a leech and post it on iNaturalist. But then we were super excited when this leech showed up, but then everyone else just freaked out and threw it away. So we were quite sad we could not photograph it. So then after that, we had breakfast and we went ahead for some other birding on the way. And on our way, yeah, there are ticks. We found one and posted it on iNaturalist. Yeah, so then we went ahead birding on the road and stuff, and then we did find some interesting bird next, Dhruva, and including chestnut-tailed minla, top one, and on the right, yellow-rumped honey guide. So the honey guide was quite a surprise sighting. Actually saw a beehive on a rock in the middle, so then we went to click it. And then after that, it started raining heavily, and I had recently got a new camera in Nikon Z6 III. So then I was little scared of the rain and stuff, so then I went back into the car. But that's when Prem said that there was a honey guide, so then we had to run back and then click it, and we got really nice images and stuff. We also went on this watchtower just for time pass because we didn't find anything there. Yeah. Then after that, we went ahead towards Bompu camp. On our way, we reached a spot where a lot of people were already there looking for another rare bird of the northeast, which is the Vard strogon. So then that's when I realized that there was a leech on my hand, and then I just pulled it out because I freaked out. And then Dhruva found quite a nice subject to click with his new macro lens and upload on iNaturalist. But then the Vard strogon came, so then I forgot all about it and then just ran. And I did get a few shots of the female. Then after that, we finally reached Bompo camp, and it was raining quite heavily. Yeah, so then rest of the adventure, Dhruva will tell you.
Okay, so hello guys. So till now we have basically reached Boompu camp. So after a good birding session at Lama, then on the way to Boompu, we did some birding along the way, and now we have reached Boompu at the evening. So Boompu was at slightly lower elevation than Lama. So at Lama we were wearing like 3-4 layers of clothing, but then at Bumpu it was very pleasant actually. Not very pleasant, but still manageable. So this was the scene at Bumpu. So here you can, on the top left side, you can see the weather, how it was during the evening. So you can see dense clouds and dark blue skies. So it normally used to rain at night, and that is why the forest was very moist. The campsite was really basic. You can see here a few tents, and then there were a few tents above here as well. And this pickup truck used to come once in a week for all the supplies and stuff. And because of all of this moisture, you can find lots of ferns in this forest. So the uh, botany aspect of the biodiversity was also really interesting. I added a few pictures of some interesting plants also. So we could see a lot of ferns here. So here I've added a pic of the breaking leaves kind of fern. So a fern which has just grown its leaves, but it is not yet outstretched. So this also I saw at Bumpu for the first time. And these ferns also get quite big, like over 5 feet and stuff. So, firstly, we woke up at Bompu, really cold. We had chai, and the stay was also really basic. This was probably the most remote stay which we had. So, even the chai was made from powdered milk and some old coffee. But it was really good because you don't get anything there. So, morning we woke up and we decided to go below the Bompu camp area. So just as we are going, we could see lots of large niltavas here. They were calling continuously. We saw at least 5 to 6 individuals maybe. And then going ahead, Prem was walking quite ahead. So basically, we were searching for this Blight's Tragopan. That was our main target for the early morning. So then Prem probably spotted it just sitting besides the road. You can see this green layer. That is where the road ends actually. So it was sitting just besides the road, and it was calling continuously. And the calls are really interesting. It is like a baby crying. So it's a really interesting call. And then Prem literally told us to sit down. He was like, "Niche baitho, niche baitho." And then the roads were all moist, full of mud, because there is no tarred road there, obviously. So we sat in the muddy road and we were waiting for this Tragopan to come out. So this photo was taken by Samay, so he got a really good angle. And then the Tragopan was calling continuously, and then slowly it probably noticed us, and then it crossed the road right in front of us. So it was probably the best experience yet of this trip, apart from the Bugun sighting on the first day. So then this was a like a great day to great way to start the day. So we were all hyped up, energized. So then we started walking ahead, and then we saw lots of these wild bananas there. So I'm not sure which species is this, but the forest was also full of these wild bananas. And then you can see these big leeches. So lots of leeches were there on the grasses, on the ferns, on these leaves. So this particular leech, this was quite big, maybe almost the length of our palm. So probably that tiger leech and whatever people say, probably that tiger leech species. And the forest was also full of hoverflies, lots of hoverflies. So maybe that's why there were lots of niltavas and other flycatchers, which probably feed on this hoverfly. We also saw this parrotbill, a big flock of parrotbills when we were going down. So it was actually a mixed flock. Everything in Eaglenest is a very shy and mixed flock, like 10, 15 species of birds move all at once. So there were a few parrotbills, then few niltavas, a few Himalayan cutias also. So here we can see this Himalayan cutia eating some caterpillar. Then there were also leaf birds here. This is a female golden breasted leaf bird, I think. So
Orange,
it was feeding golden. Sorry,
orange bellied.
orange bellied. Yeah, that leaf bird. I forget the names actually. So we saw lots of these birds, and even these warblers. Lots of warbler species there, and they continuously move, jumping from one branch to the other. So then our birding was basically we used to go by car or the jeep bolero. Maybe drive for 1 kilometer. We used to get off, then walk for maybe 1 2 kilometers, then again drive for another kilometer, and then walk for 1 2 kilometers. So this basically used to be our birding throughout the day. And so in between these patches, we also saw very interesting birds like this one, silver-eared misia. We saw this was also a good sighting which Adil spotted. And then going ahead, we were just about to take a U-turn to go again back to Bompu because we used to walk quite a lot and we had a good breakfast, and we were just getting back to Bompu, and then our driver spotted this big flock of long-tailed broadbills. I think we counted 6 or 7 broadbills. They were sitting right in front of us. It was a good eye-level photography experience. And so our guide, so Prem and our driver first spotted it, and then Samay was also with me, and Doctor Saab and sorry, what's the Bhaskarji was also coming, and then they saw from afar that we were photographing something, so they literally ran towards us, and then I pointed that broadbill bet hai samne, and everyone was really happy, and everyone got really good shots because it was sitting at eye level. The background also very nice, and so it gave us a nice display. And there were also many birds with the broadbills. Some long-tailed CBRs were also there in the treetops. And so lunch was also very basic. We went. The lunch is as usual: dal, rice, and some sabzi. Mostly it is bhendi sabzi. So after lunch, we decided to go on a trail above Bompu camp, just besides the staff quarters. So there also I saw many different plants. Like you can see this, what is it, butterfly shaped leaves kind of plant. So this is probably ID'd on iNaturalist. I need to check. Then this another breaking leaves kind of fern you can see here. Then this particular moth was sitting on our driver's shirt, Vijay Bhai's shirt. This moth was sitting. So this was also a really interesting individual. So then going ahead, we saw this black crowned scimitar babbler. So Prem spotted it from afar. He ID'd it from the calls. And then this bird is also very, very shy. It continuously goes from one bamboo to the other bamboo, and barely I got two decent shots. And also this Himalayan squirrel, it was eating on some ficus trees. Then there were lots of insects here, so I added a slide of this. So you can see these ferns here. So they are about 6-7 feet tall, and a huge variety of ferns. I don't know how to ID them, but I took a few photographs. Here we can see some beetles here. This was some interesting moth, endemic one. This was that cyclosa spider, and this was some type of hopper. I'm not sure which one, but these were also in good quantities. And so leeches are obviously omnipresent in Bumpu camp. So I didn't leave an opportunity to photograph these leeches. It was a good subject for my macro mobile clip-on lens. So leeches gave very nice photos. But surprisingly, leeches, I didn't get a single leech bite throughout the entire trip. So probably the leeches also appreciated me photographing them. So then that evening, we just came below from the trail which we took, and then we could see another group photographing something. So then Adil and Prem rushed ahead to ask them, "Ki, what are you photographing?" And then we were really very lucky to get this one, the Sikkim wedge-billed babbler. This is one of the narrow endemics of the Northeast. So we were very lucky. There were two individuals, and they were very close, maybe just a few 2-3 meters away from us, continuously moving in the thickets. So these also were mostly around 5-6 layers of bushes inside, but sometimes they used to come outside, and that was when I photographed them. But the light was very low. The ISO of my camera was maxed out, so I barely got a few actual good shots. So these two are some good shots, but still lots of noise. But this was a very good sighting. Everybody was happy and that evening because we were planning for the long-billed wren babbler actually, but we were unlucky. It didn't come out. It was just giving calls from afar. But we saw this wedge-billed babbler from very nicely and very close. So that is why everybody was very happy. And you can see this beautiful forest at Bompu. So this is basically how our everyday scenery used to look. So it was like small shrubs below, these ferns, and then big trees, and then full dark skies ahead. So at night, after dinner, me and Samay decided to search for some moths because my friends at ISER told me that Northeast has some really good endemic moths. So probably I don't know much about these moths. I don't know the ID, but we saw lots of them near the bathroom area because that light was on throughout the night. So lots of moths gathered there. So this was some. So this particular red color moth. So I showed this particular moth to almost everybody at the campsite. I even took a selfie with it, and so many people who didn't appreciate moths, they thought that the moths, they are like dull black and gray color. So then when people saw this moth, they were very surprised, and they started taking lots of photos of this particular individual. So that was a nice experience. We also met Avinash Bhagat sir from Mumbai. So he was also at Bompu at that time. So we were talking with him. I also talked with him about some moths. So he was also knowledgeable in that aspect. So everybody photographed these moths, and I got lots of good photos of some of these species. Here are some more species of moths, which probably I haven't ID'd yet, but they look really beautiful. This one looks a lot like that death's faced moth which we get in Pune. So this is some member of that waves family, and I'm not sure which exactly, but so lots of beautiful and colorful moths. So then after this, we went to the room, and my roommate was Adil. So me and Adil were together in one tent. Samay and Manish ji were in another tent, and Dr. Saab and Bhaskar ji were in a different tent. So that's six of us. So next morning, so before next morning, so this was basically the scene every night. Because what happened is Bompu is such a remote place that there is no electricity, no running water, basically zero facilities. So they just switch on the diesel generator for 3 to 4 hours every night, and there are only two sockets for electricity. So people just put on extension cords on extension cords on extension cords. So there were like 5 6 extension cords in series here, and then people used to charge everything from their laptops. You can see this guy using a laptop. Then there are some camera batteries, there are some phones, there are some cameras. So people used to charge everything using those two sockets with probably 5 6 extension cords and multiple chargers, multiple adapters. So this was a really unique sight actually. The phones were charging really slowly because I don't think the diesel generator had that output to charge so many devices at once. But I got extra batteries for my camera, so I didn't charge my camera. I just charged my phone because we had to use Merlin and eBird and all those apps. So in the morning, we were going to the Waldstogen. So I'll tell you the story about that. So this is a group photo of us at Bompu camp. So this was some construction they did. So this was basically the morning at Bompu camp. We used to every day get up before sunrise, have some chai, and then head out for birding. We didn't do any night birding at Bompu because you can see here elephant dung. So the forest there are lots of elephants in that forest, and they tend to move at night. So that is why we didn't do any night birding because it was very risky, and there have been reports of elephants charging on locals and stuff. So the next day, we went for Waldstogen. So the story for Waldstogen was really interesting. So while coming to Bompu, we saw the Waldstogen female. Okay, and we didn't see it really well because the female was sitting high up in some tree, and it later on flew away. So we didn't see it very well, and photography we didn't do. It wasn't a good subject for photography. So in the next day when we went for the Trogan below Bompu camp, so then Dr. Saab was telling Prem ki let's go for the Trogan. We missed it yesterday, but then Prem was like ki we'll first do the Tragopan and the other targets which are below Bompu, and then the next day we'll go above Bompu again for the Trogan. So then this day Dr. Saab was really excited and kind of impatient because he really wanted to see the Trogan. So we reached that spot above Bumpu, and then Prem was searching for the bird. Even Adil was searching, and he even put on some calls, but there was zero response. And then Adil, or I think Doctor Saab, spotted this Trogan sitting on this open perch, but still it wasn't responding. It was there, but we couldn't see it. So after he spotted it, we got some really nice photos like this, and it was through dense fog, so we had to. It was tough to focus on this bird, and there are also some other birds, like you can see this yellow, this fulveta, some fulveta. I forgot the name. So these pulvetas were there in good numbers, so at least a flocks of 10 to 15 birds, and lots of other birds also, like golden babbler and striated bulbuls also in mixed flocks. So then we went ahead and we went to a spot where we saw this the black-throated parrotbill, which was another lifer, and but I only got one shot because this bird is also very very shy. So this is a barely ideable shot. Unfortunately, this grass blade got in between. And then there was also another individual of the rufous-throated wren babbler here. Actually, those wren babblers are present in good numbers here, but they are very difficult to spot. So Prem saw one individual in some bush, and we waited for some time. And this I got this barely good photo through the bushes. So it is really difficult to photograph these tiny babblers. So going so above Bompu, this is how the basically the scenery looked like. So you can see these mountains here. This is Arunachal Pradesh, and you can see the plains here, the plains of Brahmaputra. That is Assam. So you can basically see the Assam and Arunachal border from above Bompu. So this was a very good scenery. This was only visible when the clouds move away. So this that itself was a rare sight, because the Bompu camp is always shadowed by clouds because it rains every day at night. So that is why this scene was actually a rare sight, because clear skies are very rare in that region. So we also got these warblers here, and this we got this stick. Thankfully, it didn't bite anyone, but this was a good subject for photography also, and some isopod also we saw, big ones. And then going ahead, I saw my first butterfly of this trip. I was actually hoping to see many butterflies here, but probably due to the cold and high altitude, we didn't get any butterflies. So this was the yellow labyrinth butterfly. We got this below Bompu. And there are lots of these fig trees. So Prem told us that the hornbills, these trees are a favorite for the hornbills. So lots of these trees. And while going, we heard the calls of the blue-naped pitta. So that was a rarity in the region. So that is why Adil decided that we should try for the pitta. So the story goes that we were walking along the road, and Prem heard the call of the pitta. So he did a playback of the call, and then the bird responded. So what Prem was unsure if the call which we are hearing is of a real bird or from some other guide who is below Bompu and using the call playback thinking that we are the bird. So that was a confusing situation. So what Prem did was that he played the call and he cut it in between. So it was like half a call, but still the bird responded. And so that is when we realized that it is actually a real bird and not some other person doing a call playback. So we had to go through a trail made by elephants through the dense forest, because most of our birding till now was only roadside birding. So this was the first time when we actually went in the forest. We could hear two more pittas here, but we didn't see any. I think Samay saw one just flying, but I got a good call recording of the pittas. So as we went below Bompu, so this time we are going to Khelong, which was our new campsite for the last day. So on the way to Khelong, we saw these mountain imperial pigeons perched on a tree. So this was also a rare sight, because normally you only hear mountain imperial pigeons, you don't see them perched. So this was a good opportunity for photography also. So then, while just as we were reaching Khelong near Doimara, Prem suddenly stopped the car, and he literally got off and he pointed towards the tree across the river. And first, I didn't see anything, and then I realized that we are looking at a pair of wreathed hornbills. So this was probably the sighting of the day, because this wasn't even in our target list. So Adil sent a list that these are the most likely birds which we'll see in throughout the trip. So these hornbills were not in the list. So this was a really pleasant surprise for all of us, and it was a great day to end our trip at Bompu. So we got lots of photos of this, but the unfortunate thing was there was basically no light, because the sun sets at probably 5:36, and this was, I think, at almost quarter to 6. So I shot these at 1 by 25th of a second. So lots of blurry pics and barely a few decent pics which I got. So, but we are happy that we finally saw these hornbills on the way to Kelong. So Kelong was the first, I would say, comfortable stay throughout the trip, because in the trip we used to wear probably 3-4 layers of clothing. So this was probably the first time in the trip where I actually started sweating because of the layers. So here, since it was almost at sea level or maybe a few meters above, so it was pleasant weather and we could wear normal clothes. And this was our stay here, 2 beds in a tent, and this was the atmosphere here. So we had electricity and running water, which was really a luxury in that part of world. We also saw some fireflies here. So this one is a firefly. Not sure about the species, but there were lots of fireflies here. And the food was also really nice here. We had some vegetable, some local vegetable there. So papad, dal rice is as usual,
That
and
was
there were
fun.
also non-veg opportunities here for non-veg people. So Kelong actually is a great place for butterflying also. Unfortunately, we are only there for 5 hours because we had to leave for Guwahati at 10:30 a.m. So we are there only till from maybe 4 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. 5-6 hours only we were there. But Kelong was a good place to see butterflies. We saw this rare tiger brown butterfly. Then we saw this punchinello laying eggs. Then this, I think, orchid tit or something. I forgot this name. And then this striped crow butterfly. Lots of butterflies here, and even some really good ones like the Archduke and Hill Jezebel and some Helen butterflies also we saw. So this was a really good place for butterflying, but I think maybe we would require a day extra for all of these other taxa, because we are on a tight schedule. So we only had to do a few birding targets. So one of the targets was this one, the eyebrow wren babbler. So Prem spotted this one deep inside the bushes as usual, but he couldn't tell us where this guy is sitting. So he took our cameras and he photographed the subject for us. But still, the photos were quite blurry because low light and everything. So finally, I was just staring through the bushes, and I could see the movement. And finally, it sat on a branch in the open and it was calling continuously. So that was where, when I photographed this, I took this photo. So this was a good photo of a very tricky subject. So, and here also there was some skipper sitting on Bhaskar ji's hand. Lots of butterflies, as I told here. So then we went ahead to Doimara Bridge. So our targets here were Blight's Kingfisher and Crested Kingfisher. So on the way we saw this black bulbul, then lots of hoverflies as usual. Some interesting plants. You can see white color leaves, or maybe it's white color inflorescence. I don't know, but this was an interesting plant there. We saw some endemic cicadas also. So this is some endemic cicada from there. So this was the view at Doimara Bridge. So typical Himalayan stream, gray rocky pebbles and cold stream flowing through the mountains. So this was a really picturesque view of the river. So here we went ahead. We could so basically we were at Doimara Bridge, and Bijay and Preem went ahead to check if there is any kingfishers, because since we were on a tight schedule, we could not lose much time. So they went ahead and they called Adil on the walkie-talkie, saying that they had spotted a crested kingfisher, and we went there. And unfortunately, just as we went there, the kingfisher flew away. But then we went a bit ahead, and Bijay told me to photograph something sitting on a rock, which was quite far. So I only took two photos, and surprisingly, there was another crested kingfisher sitting with a kill, some catfish you can see here. So that was a good spotting by Vijay, and I was the only lucky one who managed a photo of the crested kingfisher, and then it flew away with the kill. So here we also saw the ashy bulbul and also the black crested bulbul at Doimara. And after this birding session, we went to uh, our camp at Kelong, and then we took a group photo here. You can see the river here, and all of us, Adil, Dr. G, Bhaskar Ji, then that's me, Prem, Samay, Manish Uncle, and our driver Bijay. So then we left the Kelong, and we're on our way to Guwahati. So what happened is, the day before, someone spotted a long-tailed shearwater in a pond near Guwahati University. So we decided that this probably should be our final session of birding. We'll probably look for the shearwater. So it took us around 8 hours to reach Guwahati from Kelong, and then we were at the Guwahati University campus at around maybe 4 5:15 5:30, and then we scanned through all the ponds, but we didn't see any shearwater, so that was unfortunate. But still, we had a really good birding session this day and also throughout the trip. So then here Adil had to go elsewhere, then Bhaskar ji had to go elsewhere, and Dr. Ravi and we all were going to Guwahati airport. So then we said all our goodbyes and everything. So here I took a photo with our guide Prem, and Bijay Bhai was also there. So he dropped us at the airport, and finally we then reached back home. So in total, we got like maybe 181 or 182 species in 6 days, which was a great count. We got basically everything, almost all the targets, and I'm really thankful to Adil for organizing this, and our guides Prem and driver Bijay for all the support throughout. Thank you. So if you have any questions, you guys can ask.
Dhruva, just
Just
one thing I wanted to add. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
then I forgot to tell in my part, but then there was one more thing I found interesting here, that all the guides, with the speaker, they also use the calls of the collared owlet when we go in birding sessions. So then when they play the calls of the owlet, a mixed flock comes to mob the owl, and then all the birds, they all come, and then we have to photograph and like that. So it was quite interesting.
Yeah, that was a unique thing actually, which I experienced. So during when so we also saw the Sultan did this way. So
Yeah.
Prem he put on the call of the collared owlet, and so out of nowhere the Sultan tit came in the treetops, and it was, I think, looking for the collared owlet for mobbing. So that was also an unexpected lifer.
Yeah. So does anyone have questions? You can ask now.
Great presentation. Thank you, Samay and Dhruva. Uh, I don't know if you can explain some more the stay at the Lama camp and what difficulties you faced, and also going around birding in that terrain. I think that'll help people decide whether uh, you're too old to make this trip.
Samay, you go ahead with that question.
Yeah, so for Lama camp, the Lama camp is slightly more comfortable, at least our part, because we at least had rooms here, not tents. So then, but the cold is the problem. And the water is also super cold. And then the bathroom, you have an intense session just going into the bathroom because you have lizards, moths, ticks, and what earwigs and whatnot. Yeah. So for naturalists, it'll be paradise, but for normal people, it'll be hell. Yeah, but yeah, so that's for the yeah, and what? Yeah, so Lama camp is like that, and food and all is good. And the water also is super cold. I had decided before that I wouldn't use it, but then I think Dhruva took a bath and then we could hear him scream.
Yeah, the water actually it hits you like a bomb basically. So what happened is after I had dinner, I was about to wash my hands. So as soon as I poured the water from the mug, my hands almost froze because I could not move my hands, I could not move my fingers, and I literally made an audible sound ki, this is so cold. It was really horrible. The water is very cold, and at Lama you have to wear like 3 layers of clothing minimum, and especially at Eaglenest Pass, which is just a few kilometers, like few hours from Lama, you have to at least wear maybe 5 layers of clothing because that is in a single digit temperatures. And but the stay at Lama compared to Bompu is, I would say, quite luxurious because you have a attached bathroom and also running water. So that is
Yeah,
good.
and uh,
And
in Lama you have,
actually, you can plan it such that you can actually stay at Tenga instead of Lama, because I've heard that some birders also do that. Instead of staying at Lama, which is very remote, you can stay at Tenga, which is like 25 kilometers from Lama, and then you can commute back and forth from the Bugun Reserve and Tenga, which probably takes 1 hour. So you have to get up 1 hour early if you are staying at Tenga.
And how difficult is the terrain for birding?
The terrain actually, the roads, it has tarred roads, and so birding is only done at the roadside. You don't go inside the forest because the forest is very dense. So most of the birding is done on the roadside, and the army has constructed a nice reserve kind of thing. So there is a walkway which is quite comfortable, not very difficult to go in. So that is in that walkway is where you see the Bugunlio Kishla. So there's no problem with terrain as such because it's a tarred road and birding is done only there. You don't have to go in the jungle because that is very risky as well.
yeah, and yeah, so one more thing we didn't do, but if anyone else goes, I would suggest you to do definitely, is the Stella Pass and Mandala. So Stella Pass and Mandala are located north of Eaglenest. They come in the Tibetan plateau, but then Dhruva had some exam or something. Then we said we'll also go with him, and then later we realized how important it is. So now, if for the species like Grandala and Fire-tailed Myzornis, if we have to go again, we'll have to go all the way from Eaglenest. Yeah, so if anyone is planning, do visit Stella.
There are some questions in the chat. If you can go through
Okay.
and answer one by one, that would be great.
Okay, I'll just. What was the temperature? So temperature is around normally 15 degrees, 15, 16 degrees. At Eaglenest Pass, it is maybe 6, 7 degrees because that is the highest point there. So you do need some really good clothing and multiple layers of shirts. Are there ticks too? Yes, there are ticks, lots of ticks. But
Yeah.
we didn't get any bites, fortunately.
Yeah, so light is like Dhruva said for the wedge build babbler, very low, so then your ISO gets killed. And tripod we didn't carry because it would be another extra burden to carry everywhere when you walk.
And I
So
would
there
say
are no,
that tripod is not advisable in that terrain because you continuously have to keep on walking. So we walked like 10 kilometers every day basically. So 10 kilometers with that tripod, that would be really difficult. So I won't suggest tripod. So Ashish, but please go ahead. Question.
I think he has asked in the chat as well.
Yeah, you can ask in the chat. Okay. Amit Varsankar, you also please ask in the chat itself.
So in general, what is the best ISO that you could shoot? Because I understand Northeast across the light is an issue. So, and do you think it makes sense to carry something like a 600 f4, or is it okay to take a zoom lens and
Yeah, so
manage?
I
Yeah,
would suggest you get the 600 f4 because lighting is very challenging. So you will require that f4 aperture.
yeah,
And
one
ISO,
yeah,
I
but
think you
again, the
can
weight.
keep in
Yeah,
between maybe six. Try to keep it below 12,800. That gives a good shot because the birds are not that far. They are close because you are doing it on the only roadside. So you can crop uh, you don't need to crop that much for the noise to be visible.
Okay.
So,
So
So
around
one
5.6 should be a good 4 to 5.6 is the ideal ISO that you would like to, I
exactly,
mean,
yeah.
the aperture that you would like to
Mm-hmm.
look at.
True.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's one problem with that lens because there was a guy who carried 600 f4, and then there was some foreigners, and he was just showing his pictures on Lightroom, and then they were so clear, so everyone was getting shocked. But then we asked, he had gone to Sela also, so we asked him, did you get anything? He said he had got Tagopan. Then we asked him for images. Then he said, मुझे दिखा था पर मैं कैमरा नहीं उठा पाया था क्योंकि बहुत भारी था इसलिए वो भाग गया.
I
So
understand. I
one
understand.
problem.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So best time to visit would be the summer months, ideally from March to May for all these
Okay.
birds. Someone
Okay.
has.
And how many days were your trip? Was your trip?
6 days and 5 nights. So two
Yeah,
nights at Lama, 2 nights at Bompu, and one night at Kelong.
And how were the guides basically spotting the birds? Were they basically going by
Yeah,
sound
the,
or?
the the guides are really good, I would say. You do need a guide because if you go without a guide, you'll see like maybe two species. They are really good at spotting the birds, and especially if you need to know the spots, especially for the wren babblers and these small birds like wren babblers, fulvetas, and even trogon and tragopans. So there are designated spots where they come in for feeding in the morning. So the guides, they are really helpful. They all, know all of these spots, and I would recommend going with a guide.
best guides are like Prem was really good, but there's another guide, Biren. He's also an expert. He was with Avinash Bhagat's group.
Biren was also good, yes.
Yeah, so Samay and Dhruv, firstly, it was an awesome presentation. Like Ashish also mentioned, it almost felt like we were, you know, in there with you guys while we were boarding. So I have a bunch of questions. Let me start with the first one. Like Eagle Nest is the name of the wildlife sanctuary, right? And both these camps are
Yes.
within the wildlife sanctuary, is it?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Kelong is
Okay.
outside. Bompo and Lama are inside.
Okay. And
Hmm.
then Samay, you mentioned that Mandala is the one thing that we should probably keep on our itinerary whenever we plan. So how far is it from Eagle Nest?
I don't know exactly, but it takes around a day's journey just to get there. And
Okay.
you stay in Mandala and then Sela you do in day trip.
Oh, okay, okay. And then, were there any mammal sightings? I know you mentioned that nocturnal, or sorry, night visits or night
Yeah, yeah.
trails are not really recommended, but were there any mammal sightings?
We saw squirrels, lot of them, and
Okay,
the
apart.
Mithu.
Actually, there are you see the Bhutan flying squirrel there, but that is a very rare sighting. It's a nocturnal bird, so nocturnal mammal. So you don't see that very commonly. Eagle Nest also has red panda, but that is also a very rare sighting. And you do need a separate guide for the red panda because you have to basically target that species to see it. You won't see it casually. But there are
Yeah,
good mammal sightings there also.
understandable. And
Hmm.
what about snakes? Like again, it's because it's so moist and wet all the time. There is a good probability with sighting of snakes and geckos or other herping
We didn't
subjects.
see we didn't see any amphibians actually, but in that information kind of center at Lama, so we could see that there were two or three endemic snakes at Eagle Nest. So there were some photos of those snakes and other amphibians, but we didn't see anything. I
Okay.
think you have to go at night to see them, and going at night is quite risky there.
Okay, okay. And
Hmm.
you mentioned the best time for the eagerness season is somewhere around April, is it?
Yes, April, May, that is the best sighting.
And irrespective of that being a summer, it's still always going to rain out there. And
It always rains there. It's like a rainforest kind of habitat.
And
okay,
then it was light raining this time, and then the guides were saying that when it rains in pores, then landslides and stuff also happen.
It is
okay.
closed till December. So once monsoon start, it is closed till December. So
Oh,
the
okay,
season only starts from January to May.
okay. So April and May are the ideal times to
Yes, that
visit
is the ideal,
this.
just before monsoons.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Lokesh, the guide is Adil, who's in the group, in Nature Enthusiast group. But anyway, Dhruva and Samay, if you can
Hmm.
share the details for the guides and whatever other contacts you think will be
Yeah,
helpful, we will put it in the notes.
I'll share the number for the guide. Prem Tamang, he was the guide. I'll share the number. Yes.
I would suggest you go with a tour, because then with a guide, then it's little like tour will pick you up and drop from the Guwahati airport itself, so it would be more convenient
Hmm.
and everything is included. Anyone else has any questions?
So in how many in how advance we have to book for Eagle Nest? Generally in Northeast, at least 1 or 2 year before I heard we have to book.
No,
Is it
not that
so?
much. I would say 6 months before. That is a good time.
And it depends
Not.
on the
Okay.
tour also you go with. Like if you have heard of,
If there is a tour operator, then there's no problem. So you can just book a seat with them. But if you want to go with a guide personally, maybe 1 year to 6 months would be ideal because I think Adil told us that his tour is booked every year uh, in May. So maybe 1 year in advance, that would be a very good timeline. But 6 months before, no problem.
yeah, so and depends also which tour you go with. Like we also met Chandramouli Ganguly there, and then his tours are booked till 2032, 2033 and stuff. Yeah, so then yeah, that's a little thoda zyada hai.
Exactly. Thank you. And it was a very nice presentation and very informative. Thanks a lot, boss.
Mm.
Rishikesh, you go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Gopal. So, Sama and Dhruva, this was amazing. Excellent sightings. You said 180, right? Over the
Around
course.
that range, yeah, 130, 182, I think, is in our trip report. I will
That
have
was
to
just
check that
insane.
out on the
That was
document.
just insane. That was just ridiculous. So, just a couple of quick questions. One, did you research any tour agencies before went with Adil? Second question is, did you see the Great Parrot Bill? Because I know that the Great Parrot Bill is mostly seen in Senchal, but I
Mhm.
just wanted to see if it is seen here because you said that you saw the black-throated parrot bill, and so
Mhm.
generally the great is also seen along with the black-throated. So I just
Okay.
wanted to know if you saw that as well, or if there was talk of it being there as well. And the third one that I had was that how much did the trip cost approximately, and if you can share some light on the logistics of it.
Mhm. So, sorry, what was the first question?
What was the first question? I forgot. Okay,
Did
so
you
let's
research tour
any
Acha,
other
operators?
acha,
tour
tour
agencies.
operators. No, actually, I did not research because actually I got this Adil's trip from that birding promotions group, and I couldn't see any other Eaglenest tours during when I was checking the group. So I saw this one, and it seemed economical to me. The cost was 50,000 from Guwahati.
Per
So
person.
Guwahati to Guwahati, it was 49.9. So I thought that seems economical enough for 6 days. So that is why I went with it. And second question, no, we didn't see the Great Parrot Bill. I think it is seen in that region, but we only saw two parrot bills, that white-breasted one and black-throated.
Yeah, I think it was on my target list as well, but target list was of 160 species by eBird targets, and it was at the extreme bottom.
Okay, okay, awesome. Thank you, guys.
And where did you see the striated grassbird? In the dump, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
garbage.
Wow.
areas around. So there are a few like castor bean plants around there. So it's sometimes seen on those castor bean plants.
Okay. So if there are no more questions, then we can wrap up. If there are no more questions, then I think we can wrap up.
There is
Shall we?
one, I think.
Amit has raised Amit and somebody else. I think Raj.
No, no, no. I think I am also done. It must have. I had raised it
Ah,
earlier.
okay,
I'm good
okay.
now. Yeah. Yeah.
So then let's wrap up. Thank you, Samay and Dhruva.
Yeah, yeah.
I hope to see
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
for
I think
joining
great,
us.
great to see what kind of experiences you have had, and it helps in preparing, especially for the
Exactly.
low temperature
Yeah.
moments.
Yeah.
The
Actually,
one which Samay was mentioning about, hands were shivering and you were not able to click also. So that's something which we need to be mindful about.
Yeah.
So in the slides,
Okay.
if you can put the names of the birds, in some you have, but not all.
huh.
That
Okay,
would be
okay,
great.
sure. Got
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Thank you
Thank you.
and
Okay,
have
Thank
a
you.
good
thank
Thank
night.
you.
you.
Bye.
You
Bye.
share
Thank you.
the recording of the call.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let
Thank
me
you.
see.
It was a
Yeah.
lovely session.
Yes.
Thank you.